Hey, Thrand here, and I am here as promised with the Scottish two-handed sword, or Scottish Longsword, because it is a Scottish Longsword by category, from Medieval Shop that was inspired by the Aerondight sword from Witcher 3.
Behold, your Aerondight.
A lot of you may play Witcher 3 and you know the lore of the actual silver swords in the game, and that they're engraved in silver, or plated in silver, and this allows them to hurt the evil creatures and bestiary in the game, everything that they have in there that's of the night. But they don't work as good against human characters, or people in the game, the NPCs. But the whole thing is, today I decided I would come out, try to do my best to cosplay Witcher. I don't have stuff to actually do that with, unfortunately, but I figured this was suited the sword, and I've got the sword on a strap on my back. A few of y'all might know that Shad has done a video, and y'all might want to go check it out. My good friend Shad from Shadversity made a sheath where you can actually draw a sword from your back easily, just like this one, and put it back. I think he's even done cartwheels in it. I wanted to create one for the video. A few people were trying to tell me about it online. I already had seen the video and complimented him on it. I thought it was great, but nothing like that was historical. And I want to try the actual sheath that we got with it, because this is actually testing this sword today, and we're going to test it on one of our EVAR heads, our analog ballistics gel heads. And actually Chuck Murray was one of the ones who helped me make this design years ago when I started trying to. We did a crossover with them, and they've come a long way. This is a really good head. We've got a jaw in it. I don't have the artery because I think any cuts are going to go clean through. I don't think we're going to get decaps. We're not going to have to worry about like an artery bleeding. But we've got our skull and our spine, and this is really good ballistics gel. And speaking of Shad, since I have it on my back, let's see if I can actually draw it. Now, most people don't realize it has to be lower and slip back for it to even come out of the sheath when it's this long. But let's see if I can do it if it's physically possible. I was able to do it, but not very easily. So unless his sheath moves way down on his back as he pulls up, which I don't believe it does in the game, you would never get the sword out, and good luck trying to get it back. This would be a miracle to try to line it up. Like I'm looking back over my shoulder trying to get it. Yeah, I don't think carrying the sword on your back like that would be worth anything, unless you were going to carry it that way, just like where you're on horseback. But why not just strap it to the side of your horse? I mean, that's what I would probably do. But anyway, let's get started, and we're going to try this beautiful longsword out. It is a longsword that could have been used in Scotland. I mean, somebody could see the sword and recognize it immediately as something from his homeland if it was back in the day. But it looks a lot like the Gven'nel, which is the one it actually looks like to me, the Gven'nel. It kind of looks like the master-crafted silver swords. It looks like the Aerondight, but the Aerondight's a little more elaborate. I think there's a disc-glare or something like that in the game as well. But yeah, for me it's the Gven'nel that it looks like. Let's go ahead and get started now. Torches of war under hatred sail, a whisper of doom on a weary breeze, scorching the shores in a blazing trail, cinder and fume foul the air we breathe, blood of fallen kings, blades of chaos ring, steel and silver sing for justice. is very windy, so I am going to speak up so you can hear me clearly, hopefully, as I'm doing the test. But this is what I recommend. Let's see how this works. Wow! That worked a lot better. That's how I would carry the sword. And a matter of fact, they even have the nail on it if you want to carry it this way. And let's see how hard it is to put back up. I do have to look down, but not bad at all. I mean, you could almost use it like a katana, almost. Let's go ahead and get going here. One thing I would like to add, it is very much like the medieval Scottish sword from Medieval Shop. It's very much like it. They're very similar in lots of ways, except this one has a slightly longer hilt for a one-handed sword, so you can use it hand and a half quite easily. And this one performed exceptionally well. We were able to take the whole top of the skull clean off, and that was using it hand and a half. This one with the extra length on the handle, it's got an extremely long hilt like out of Witcher, which I think is going to give it a major advantage in its cutting ability. I really do. I think it'll be quite impressive. So let's go ahead and see what it can do. I shall start off with the same style cut because I'm very curious if it can do the exact same thing. Let's go ahead and see what happens. If it doesn't, sometimes it's a fluke, but we'll just go ahead and give it a good try. I'll stand sort of in a high tog type thing, maybe, or maybe just go into a wrath. I'll do a wrath. Oh! And I would say it did the exact same thing. And you definitely have a dead vampire, bitch, whatever you want to look at. Without a brain, I don't think they can function quite well.
It all depends which googly you're after. Some of them
That's a
don't have brain to
beautiful
start with.
decap. We have kind of dark blood today. I normally like lighter colored blood, but you can see the blood in there. And that's a fairly clean cut. So it did exactly what its little brother or little sister did. Its sibling, I guess. Very beautiful. You can see this right here. Blood on the blade. Beautiful. Quite enjoyed that. Okay, I shall try something ridiculous, but I suppose if you were to parry something out of the way, because in the game, if you notice, he does a move where he kind of jumps in with his shoulder and over and swings. So if you take the blade and you might be able to pull it off. I don't know if it'd give you much more power, but if it was done into a decap type situation, possibly if you were able to pull it off, parry. We could try it. Can't guarantee it'll work. This metal makes it very difficult. Oh! Too sharp. We cut way too sharp. But I was able to slice completely to the throat, to the spine. So that was quite impressive. And we lost the cap, of course.
The inside of the cap.
Would I ever have actually done that in a real fight? No, I don't think I'd ever be parrying something out of the way and then jumping and spinning for no reason just to supposedly get power.
You cut into his throat.
I cut into his spine. His spine
It's bleeding out
is
slightly.
bleeding out and has a nice gash in the spine. So cutting sharp with the tip of the blade and it cutting through this very thick PVC spine,
Still want to cut his throat.
that's got a lot of power. Let's go ahead and see if we can do it. Maybe I can pull it. Ah! That time I went through the skull again. That is quite impressive. Not bad at all. Not what I was expecting. But I actually cut through the entire skull. Again. So not too shabby. Just a little higher than I was aiming. So far we got to look at the evidence that this shows us. Although both of these could be a disabling blow or a killing blow, telling blow, I think I could do much better if I were just to cut the target. I may end up having to do that just because the jump and the spin, which I don't rehearse or practice regularly, out of a video game. Remember, this is something that we're doing as a cosplay type video game technique, just to see if it's plausible to get that killing blow and this devastating spin, like you see in like fight games, this game, Witcher 3. But we'll give it one more try. If it doesn't work this time, I'll just come back and use a classic HEMA style cutting technique or some overpowered technique and just take it. I would say that time it did exactly what it was supposed to do. I went a little bit low, but you can see I went clean through the spine. So of course we don't have any flesh left because I went so low trying to aim and hit properly that I actually wasn't able to. See what we did here. Our first cut had gone through the spine. You can see it here. It had cut into the spine. This one, this is crazy.
Looks like it shaved it.
I shaved it, but the way I did it is I came up under the flesh. So we didn't actually cut through the flesh. We just cut it off completely across the stand without actually cutting the stand. Since this was such a haphazard technique and just done in fun, and just to see if there's any plausibility to doing anything like that if you were able to pull it off. You know, maybe something merited it, you thought, for some reason, what have you. I don't think it was worth it. Didn't give that much extra power. Although, I mean, that's quite impressive cutting into the spine the way it did. But that's just amazing. If I tried to do that and said I was going to chop the head off and cut as little gel as possible on the very bottom and just hit the spine to make it easier to cut, never been able to do it. I would have hit the wood. I would have probably hit too high and cut straight through the neck like I normally do. But in this case, we actually did that. We shaved right under it, shaved some of the gel off. You see, as the head was getting kicked back, we shaved the gel off as we cut it. I think is what happened. It kind of bobbed back and we cut that piece off as it went through. That is amazing. I'm sorry. It's just it's like one of those, I guess, chaos style flukes. It's something that you wouldn't normally get except for that randomness of me trying to jump. And each time I jump, it's probably not exactly the same and so on. And then aim and then use maximum effort to try to cut the head off and make it viable somehow.
That's good, Deadpool.
Yeah, turned out really good. I'm impressed. Hope you enjoyed the episode today with the Scottish longsword or Scottish two-handed sword from Medieval Shop that is inspired by Witcher 3 and these silver swords in the game. Looks very much like the Gven'nel or any of the other Witcher swords in the game, and that was the whole point. But the Witcher sword itself, all the silver swords are actually inspired by Scottish swords. Either the Claymore design or like we see in the tomb effigy, Finnegan. You see a sword very much like this, and it could have been an arming sword the way he's wearing it, because normally you wouldn't wear a full-size Claymore like you see, the ones that people think are bearing swords or early great swords, wouldn't normally wear that on your belt. It's usually a little bit longer, and it would be pretty out of the way, to do. So most people assume that was an arming sword he had, or a hand-and-a-half sword, which I very easily could see it like this one here from Medieval Shop, the medieval Scottish sword, and it being a hand-and-a-half, something you could use one-handed normally with your shield, but you could always put an extra hand on if you needed. But if you want something that's actually a Scottish longsword version, that's not a super heavy Claymore, but like a smaller version of a Claymore, but a longsword within that range, I highly recommend the Witcher sword. It's one of my new favorite longswords. Definitely performed very well, and I got to have fun with it. I got to do some fantasy stuff that I normally would never do. I don't recommend doing it in any kind of fighting. I recommend being very careful. If you try anything I did or try to be fancy with a sharp edge, be very, very careful. I don't condone that at all, unless you've been doing it for a long time. But it was fun today. I got to do some stuff I normally wouldn't do, like spins. No, I'm not telling you to use those, but it was fun. And it performed well for what I did with it, and I think it's a good sword. It's a good sword to have alongside this one as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our episode, and be looking for more episodes, and as always, Bell.